Hello everybody, welcome to your Jewel of the Soul reading for the week of June 11th, 2017. So interesting symbol this week coming from about the midpoint of Gemini. Gemini energy, remember, is very much about curiosity, learning, high mental processing, communication, very chatty kind of energy. Okay, so the symbol reads it's Gemini 12 that came through in my dowsing for our week. A black slave girl demands her rights of her mistress. Now, right out of the gate, when we take this as it reads, do you get the sense of literally black and white? Doop, doop, doop. The two ends of a spectrum. And I'm getting a strong feeling within inside me that there is an expansion here that is more about looking at the whole of the spectrum. And as I was sitting down to do this reading, one of the pieces I created with glitter, I love doing this, it just makes me feel like a kid and I love it. This piece here came to the forefront for me. And this is what we're talking about this week, is perhaps you're looking at, any one of these, and this is very much like an astrological natal birth chart. You might be looking here, and then across the way is here. And that's just the way it works in an astrology chart, where you have these polarities. You have the two ends, and they each have a voice, and they each have a persona. But look at all of the rest of this that contributes, in this case, to this visual that we're looking at. And even in the symbol, life can certainly be sketched out in black and white, but it really comes to a new place when we add the depth of color of many other hues. And I also think about it in terms of, I was seeing like a mother's ring or a mother's necklace, and as a mom has her children, she adds to the ring or the necklace, and it becomes even more beautiful as each new gem is added. And so I'm encouraging you, and I feel like the encouragement overall is to come to this place of really updating this symbology that comes through in this symbol, of not just being the one that feels, put out and that nobody's listening to me and I have to make my voice known. And there's nothing wrong with shining your beautiful hue wherever you are, in this kind of a piece. If you're the purple or you're the orange or you're that beautiful fuchsia pink or whatever. There's nothing wrong with shining the beauty of who you are and making that seen. But I feel like with this symbol, we need to think about the mistress too. In the case of the times during slavery, very wealthy families who had a company of slaves, you think about the children that grew up in those families, and likely then they went on to have their own slaves for their home and, business and what have you. They don't know any different. And so we can look through very critical eyes at saying, well, that's bad and that's wrong and that's against humanity. But from the standpoint of the mistress in this symbol we have, she doesn't know any different. And she doesn't know that a slave could have a voice and want to make her needs known. And she'll come to a new place of knowing and consciousness as this black slave girl speaks up about her needs. Then she comes to a new shining within her gem tone that she offers. So we really are well served to look at what's in between the spectrum of where you might be at, let's say, and where another is at. I do feel like there's a focus on you and another in your life. And perhaps there has been a feeling of being at odds with somebody or a company or a belief of some sort, and you feel like maybe the whole world is against you and feeling that way. But just remember that we can all get richer as we begin to integrate many different viewpoints. That's what offers this kind of beauty. Not that this is any great piece of artwork, but I sure had fun doing it. And it just came to me as I was putting the glitter down with the glue. And this really is what it's about. It's about the collection of those jewel tones that we all offer, okay? So I feel like the cards this week are giving us, in essence, a philosophy to consider as we move into our week, so that we can begin to see more of the jewel tones of what everybody's offering. And you know what? That then makes yours even richer and even more beautiful and sparkling. There's a true beauty that shines out from you when we drop a sense of judgment, of saying this is right and that's wrong. You can look at it as simply another hue, and that it helps you to get clearer in many ways in how you really feel about something. And that's a gift within itself. And that person then, or company, or belief, whatever it is, serves as a bit of a teacher for you, as leading the way to greater clarity, which is what Gemini is all about, our energy for this week. Gemini at its highest mode and energy is about clarity of mind and clarity of being able to communicate. And so what better way than to really look at all of the hues that are around you that are contributing to whatever this is, whether it's a belief, another person. This in the center is the belief, the other person, a company, a job, a health issue, whatever it is. That's in the center, and all of this is contributing to that. And it's all emanating out from whatever that is. Whatever that is that's causing maybe a sense of, I don't agree with that and I have to make my voice known. It's bringing more color into this world. It's bringing more definition into this world by design. Okay? So, with that said, let's get on to our cards for this week. And as a special gift for the message to help round it out, right before I started this reading, I went on to look at certain planets, and I dowsed for which planet has a companion message for each card. And I looked at the current placement of that planet within our astrological skies, and that'll just give us a little bit more of a sketch of what's going on. So the first card is from the Life Purpose deck by Doreen Virtue, and this is Body Work. I do love this card. I'm a lover of tattoos, and I just love the color of the wings and the strength you feel from this card. Do you feel strength and individuality with the tattoo? I always feel like I have a tattoo. My husband has tattoos. I know a lot of people with tattoos. I feel like it's a way to be individual. The card itself says, your life purpose involves body work such as massage therapy, energy healing, physical therapy, or exercise training. But honestly, what I'm getting is this sense of individuality. I'm really drawn to the tattoo on this, and I have not read this card that way in the past, so that's interesting. And those hues, look at just all of the hues in the wings, okay? And again, being willing to allow yourself to be an individual and to see that with others, and to really use your mind, because Mercury is the planet that came forth for you with this card, and it's in the 10th house currently in Gemini. Mercury rules Gemini, so really strong energy for you this week. in terms of communication and your mental capacity, to bring forward this sense of the value of individuality, the value of literally shining who we are and actually doing things. Tattoos are an example. Putting our stamp on the world, not being afraid to exert creatively too into the world, are very special type of touch that we have. Okay, your whole body is involved, is what this card is relaying. How you present yourself in the world, the way you dress, the colors you wear, the way you wear your hair, the jewelry, the cologne or perfume, things like tattoos, and I would say most importantly for you this week is how you go about thinking about the beauty of individuality within yourself, but also of others. How you think about it and how you communicate that. That's how we really put our stamp on the world, is by how we choose to take in knowledge, process it, and then what comes out. Because everything coming out of us contributes to this great picture, like this piece that I showed. We're all emanating from something that we're focused on, which is the center of this piece, whatever it is. If it's a job, if it's another person, if in a relationship, many, many things here that could be at the center. And we're always adding to that picture. You're one of the rays coming out of this. So what do you want to bring to it? What do you want to offer? So Mercury in your case it's in the 10th house. So that's about your work. It's the highest part of your sky in your astrological chart. It is about your career, what you do at work. So clearly that's where we're focused in. That's what I love about the planets. Your Sabian symbol for where Gemini was at when I was preparing this reading is an airplane, Gemini 10. An airplane dives towards the earth as though falling. Some people listen to this symbol and they're like, oh my God. Can you imagine the excitement though? Because you're at the controls and you know what you're doing. You've been up in that plane so many times that now you can pull off a trick like this and everybody is watching. It's like you're in an air show and everybody is watching your mastery here. And even though it looks like you're going into a dive, you just, woof, you pull right up and amaze everybody. So there can be a sense of maybe things in the workplace perhaps are not going as you may like, but it's getting you clearer is what I'm getting on this. It's honing you like a beautiful, whatever you are in this, if you are a ruby, if you're a topaz, a diamond, whatever you are in this, okay? Pick your jewel, any jewel. You're getting honed. It's like you're on a jeweler's piece of equipment and it's just you're getting polished and honed and the cuts are coming into place and there's more and more brilliance that is coming out. That contrast and things that challenge us are what bring us greater vibrance and greater clarity, in this case for you. With Gemini and Mercury currently being in Gemini, it's all about clarity of mind and who am I? And who am I specifically in the workplace or whatever you do that you're most seen for. Getting clear on that and not being afraid to truly, with that symbology, it's almost like, you are willing to be the one with the tattoos. You are willing to do things that perhaps others are not willing to do. If everybody's feeling down about something, you may honestly feel like, I don't understand what the big deal is here. I'm not feeling that way. And that you're able to somehow communicate that this week. And do you know that that can drastically change the tide of something that is occurring in an environment? Because you're bringing a new perspective. You know, you're bringing something that not, you know, there might be herd mentality where everybody's feeling a certain way and you're willing to be different. And that just offers a new sense of knowing that the group may not have considered before. So that could be in terms of emotionally something that's going on, or a new project, or a new way of doing work. It just feels new and different. Okay, but you're bringing your individuality to it this week. Really, really nice. Okay. So that's the key. Individuality is your key term for this week. And being able to communicate that using Mercury to your advantage in its home sign. Very comfy sitting there in Gemini. 10th house. All about work or whatever you are most readily seen for. Very good. The second card is from the Flower Therapy deck, also by Doreen Virtue. And this is Release All Anger. And it is the Snapdragon. And it reads, don't give power to negative words by saying them. Speak from your higher self and make your communications peaceful and loving. Now what I'm drawn to with the Snapdragon when I look at this for this reading is all of the yellow. And that has to do with our solar plexus. Okay, middle of the gut. And I'm very fast coming to believe through various things that I've been learning and discovering myself that the solar plexus, that gut area right in the center of our bodies, is sort of becoming like the new heart center. When we are right, and I want to say even, because this card is about harmony. When we're even tempered, in the gut, we have a sense of, I'm in the right place at the right time. Ooh, my door. In the right place at the right time. I'm, knowing where I'm going. I'm knowing what I'm wanting. I believe in myself. That's a big one for the solar plexus. I believe in who I am. Then everything seems to go quite smoothly from there. And it's where yellow becomes such a, it's like the new black. It becomes our power color, and that is, solar plexus is the power center, and it is fueled by the sun. So it's a sense of just well-being and self-worth, self-esteem. And really this week, I feel this calling for you to really pay attention to what's going on in the gut. I'm literally talking the center of your belly. What is happening there? How do you feel in your gut? And just take note of it in different settings. Do you feel a sense of tightness in certain situations? Do you feel really loose and free in the gut in other situations? Do you feel a sense of trepidation at times? Do you feel a sense of sadness and sort of withdrawal? You can actually feel in the belly when you're kind of pulling back, like, no, I have to protect myself here. I can't be a part of that because I don't have anything to give there. And my voice doesn't need to be heard in that situation. And just notice how much your solar plexus goes through in one day. If you even journaled one day, how is my solar plexus doing in this situation, and then this, and then this? And then also noting what type of setting, situation, other people, emotions mostly, make your gut, your solar plexus feel the best. Feel like pure freedom, but it's freedom of self, freedom of being able to shine that hue wherever you are on this kind of a spectrum, being able to be full out as you are without holding anything back, without compromising, just being you. That's what the solar plexus is always searching for. And I feel like it's a big reason why we have so much gastrointestinal issues in our societies, is because of this sense of either covering up, pushing it down, pushing it aside, compromising completely. It is all about you getting to your true shining self, whatever that may be. And there may be, periods of anger that come up, for sure. But I'm getting it more the full, again, talking about the word spectrum, as I mentioned in the intro. Looking at the full spectrum, because it's really all of the emotions that are involved. And I want you to notice where the solar plexus, where are you at when the solar plexus feels really good? And like you're flowing and you literally aren't holding your stomach. You're just letting it be. You want more of that. Because when we're holding it, there is no release and there is no exchange of energies going on with your world, which is what this is all about. It is about how all of these contribute to whatever is at the center. And what is at the center is whatever you have your attention on. Okay? So your planet, I dowsed for a planet for everybody to go with their card, and yours is Saturn, the great taskmaster. Holy smokes, you're probably quite hard on yourself. You're probably like, nope, I've got to get this in order, and then I can do that, and then I can do that. Saturn is like being called to the principal's office. There is a way, there's one right way, and when you don't do it, I'm going to let you have it. And we need some of Saturn's discipline in our life, but I feel like Saturn too is changing its vibe as we go along in this age that we're in, the age of Aquarius, is less of that demanding and more of that rising up to naturally to your greatest self through a sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Okay, and that you naturally get there rather than being demanded into that place through another. That somebody else has to get you there. That's been a feeling behind Saturn for a long time, and this is becoming more of a self-empowerment journey. And Saturn currently is in the 4th house, so this has to do with home matters. So taking a look particularly, how do you feel within the home setting, whatever home is for you, and also within family. Family exists in the 4th house. It is kind of the cozy place. It is also our roots. It can be your childhood. It can be having to do with your parents, your upbringing. It's the deepest part of your natal chart in astrology. So Saturn is currently sitting at Sagittarius 24 and some minutes. So Sagittarius 25 is your Sabian symbol. A chubby little rich boy rides a hobby horse. This speaks to, having everything truly that you need within your very roots, within what you term as home. And home has so many levels to it. It's that early childhood. It even goes back to the womb. Early childhood, your home now that you have. And also don't forget about home within you. Again, with this symbol that we have for our week of Gemini 12, a black slave girl demands her rights of her mistress. There is a real sense here of you honoring the home that is you within your body. And that is the ultimate in self-esteem, self-worth. Everything that the solar plexus is about is being okay with who you are, and that you're on a journey and you're learning things. The more you bump up against things that perhaps you don't agree with. Perhaps you don't agree with how your childhood went. But how has it honed you to shine more brilliantly in your individual way? And it might be worth looking at that in terms of these different levels of home that I mentioned. What was going on for your mom when you were in the womb? What was going on in your childhood? What's going on now in the home that you maintain? And what's going on in your body, in that solar plexus area that you call home? That's home too. Really taking a look at all of those levels and what is happening. What is how has, in each of those situations, how has it helped to inform you to a higher state of consciousness for yourself? And in that way, you truly do release all anger. There is a great release that happens when you see the purposefulness of everything. And what I know to be true is not only is everything purposeful that we come across in our path and has a great role to play for us, but I am a believer that we choose our parents, we choose the path of our upbringing in order to, meet the goals that we had set for ourselves in this life. And largely for many, many people, that is coming to a place of unconditional love and dropping the judgment and getting really, again, I'm seeing horses here in a way that is an even temperament, because horse energy is just gorgeous when you see it happen with them, that they get into this more even temperament and out of the spikes and the valleys, which, by the way, they're triggering off the rider. When they're in this harmonious place, you know that horse and rider are one. And that's you with your higher self. That's you. If you're experiencing these severe peaks and valleys, you know that you're kind of not in that place of being in tune with the higher self, which is much more of a kind of homeostasis with some ups that help to fuel you further, expand you further, and little bitsy, valleys that what I call, those are honing moments. Those are you, as one of these jewel tones, and you're, across the way is another jewel tone, and it's just helping to bring out your beauty more. It's helping you to define, how do I feel about this? What is my standpoint? And I can see how that person thinks that way. It's becoming a little more accepting of the fact that everybody's got their different viewpoints to bring, and they all contribute to the image that we're seeing, the whatever is playing out in the situation around any given issue or job or belief, you name it, is that everybody contributes. So yeah, take a look at knowing that Saturn is your planet this week. And it is about you not being too tough on yourself is what I'm getting, because Saturn can be a great taskmaster. But you're redefining that. You have an opportunity to redefine that and to release in that solar plexus area, to release what holds, I feel it like a grip of a fist in your solar plexus, in that belly area, whatever is holding there about, I can't be happy because I was brought up like this, or this is what's going on in my home, or this is what's going on in my body. You're being encouraged to look further, look beyond what might have been one belief, and look at the spectrum. That's what our symbol of Gemini 12 for the week speaks to. It's really understanding, where was your mother at when that happened? What was going on with your parents when that happened? Believe it or not, it's not all about you. They were trying their best. Believe it or not, they were. And so from what they knew at the time, from everything of who they are. So it's taking all of that into consideration. And you picked them. You picked that situation. And in that knowledge in itself, that is very freeing. You just know that this was perfect for me because it helped to get me to where I'm at now. And look at all the clarity that you have earned as a result of all of those different aspects of what I'd call home, as I described earlier. Okay? Very good. All right, our last card is from the Animal Medicine deck. And for you, Wild Boar in the reverse position came up. And I want to say right off the bat that Venus is the planet that wanted to partner with this message today. So the Wild Boar, when it's in the upright position, is about confrontation. And when I was, when I was looking this up, because I don't have these all memorized, I had my pendulum going, and in the description in the reverse position of Wild Boar, it was feelings of cutting through helplessness and weakness. That is the main message of this card for you this week. So in terms of seeing, remember our symbol, Gemini 12, a black slave girl demands her rights of her mistress. And I described in the intro, it's about seeing that spectrum. It's not just where the black girl's viewpoint is and the mistress's viewpoint is. There's a lot that goes in between that. And there is a lot of depth. What I'm getting is where the mistress stands and the black slave girl stands, there's depth behind their beliefs of who they are. So it's almost like these cone-like images that I'm seeing, and all along the spectrum where you might be seeing something toned through, a jewel, as in this piece that I showed earlier. There's something popping through visibly towards all of us that we all see out of view. But there's like a cone-like structure that I'm seeing behind that. And I'm just getting the feeling of depth. That you have gotten to the place of wherever you shine on a spectrum like this, if you're the purple or you're the fuchsia or you're the green, there is a whole host of layers and experiences and emotions and mental processes that have built that up, and it goes back to infinity. It's every lifetime you've ever lived, this goes very deep. There's ancestral patterns too. So it's Venus is leading the way for you this week. And Venus is about the planet of love and beauty. Seeing the absolute beauty of your world. I just feel it so deep for you. You might have been, let's see where Venus is at here. As I sat down to prepare for this, I looked where Venus was at that moment. 9th house. So 9th house is about your greater philosophies of life. It's a Sagittarius rules the 9th house. So it's a feeling of the philosophy, literally, the higher mind that you bring to your life. And consider, I just want you to be gentle with yourself this week in considering this amazing depth that is behind the bright light and color and sparkle that you shine individually, uniquely. I'm so drawn to this cone image. I've never seen that in my psychic sight before. There's so much that is coming up, and it wants to be known to you this week that feeling the beauty of where you've gotten to at this point in your life because of everything that falls behind it. It's like the princess and the pea. So many mattresses all set up on each other, and there's this little pea underneath, and that there was a spark, and then all of this experience began to happen, and it's building upon itself. And to see, Venus calls you to see the beauty and the perfection of all that is. Okay, so Venus is currently in Taurus. Venus rules Taurus. So incredibly strong energy for you this week. Your symbol for that Venus energy for you is Taurus 6, a bridge being built across a narrow, high gorge. Life maybe has not been easy, but the way through it is not through confrontation. The way through it is not through pushing and slicing and dicing. It's actually a non-confrontational energy that's being called to you this week. And being respectful of how all of those experiences that have you up on this bridge going across a high, narrow gorge. Not for the faint of heart here, but all of those things contribute to getting you to that point. And Venus just wants to say, and look at how lucky you are to be at this pinnacle, at this place, to have this kind of view. You're not down at the bottom of the gorge. You're actually at the point. This is a big week for you, I feel. I feel extremely emotional about your card and your message here. It's a sense that you have the tools to build a bridge from one side to another. But the way to get there is not to bull and make yourself feel like you're helpless and I have to fight out in order to get my way. It's the reverse of that. It is dropping any sense of helplessness or victimhood, and to see how all of those, everything that's in that cone behind your shining light, your special vibrance, how that has all contributed to make you who you are and to give you the tools that you will now use, really perhaps beginning in this week, to build that bridge across the gorge. Everybody else is like down in the bottom or like making their way up the gorge, and you're standing at the top at this point. You have what it takes. You have those tools. And that you can build a strong and steady bridge to easily make your way across without fear of, being in danger. That's what everything in the cone has offered you. Everything in that experience is being brought to bear this week. And Venus just calls you to look at all of that as magnificent, shining, beautiful in all of its forms. because it helped to get you to the top of the gorge. So what is the top of the gorge for you, I wonder? Where are you at now that you were not at 5 years ago? Where are you at now that you were not at when you were, let's say, 18, 22, when you first got out of high school or when you first got out of college? There is so much that contributes to your experience, and it's honing you, and I'm seeing like a mountaineer with this grand pack, and you have been walking along. It's like you're trudging up Everest, and you've been going along, and at every stop you're able to collect a new tool. You put it in the backpack and you keep going. The point is you keep going. That's why you're at the top of the gorge. So what bridge are you going to build that's out of this sense of dropping the helplessness, dropping the victimhood? That you should be celebrating where you're at this week. You should be absolutely, and it's in terms of specifically your philosophy, your way of navigating your world, your way of taking on new adventures. You're the mountaineer. You're on Everest, and you've been on Everest for a long time. I just feel that. So it's celebrating all that's in the pack, because now there's some new adventure that is awaiting you and that is being called forth from within you, that you're able to build a bridge because of your philosophy that you've built to a new land completely. And what I want to say about this symbology of a bridge being built across a narrow, high gorge is that this really, everything has prepared you to not be in fear of really anything anymore, because you know that you've got the tools in your pack to deal with it. Everything has been playing right into your cards all along the way. And, my greatest message is for all of us to drop this sense of victimhood and feeling helpless and like we're small and weak. We're much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And we shouldn't have to worry about being faced with anything serious, because you've got it within you. That Sisu rising, you've got it within you to bring about this magical sense of courage and your individuality being your greatest guide through anything that brings fear or challenge. I feel like you're in a place that you don't need to fear anything. You've been through it on some level, literally on some level. When we think about the high gorge, you've already been through it. You've hiked up Everest. You've gotten the tools. You've gotten the value that comes out of hiking through various types of weather conditions, through different types of terrain. All of that has honed you to this place where you can now build a pathway to a new adventure. That's Venus in the 9th house, adventure, higher mind, higher learning, like you're ready for something else. But celebrating the beauty of everything that has occurred is what Venus is saying to me anyway for you. And please drop any sense of victimhood or helplessness, because when you look back at everything that you have been through, you will see that, you didn't need to feel like a victim ever, because you had it in you to get through whatever occurred. Happy, sad, angry, anything in the spectrum, anything within this. And that it all helps to shine you even brighter, more sparkly, more clear. Okay? There we go, everybody. Beautiful week of readings. Very deep, very fulfilling. So really getting out of the black and white and looking at the spectrum and the depth that is involved in all the viewpoints as helping to contribute to your experience this week. Take care.